and welcome back. This is Don't Watch at Night, a spooky little podcast dedicated to Latin American and Spanish language horror. I'm your host, Valerie.
And I'm Veronica.
We are taking a look at 90s horror this week, and there's this really, before we do that, we're going to get to our movie here in just a second, but before we do that, I came across, Veronica, this really fun horror quiz that I'm not going to give you per se. I'm going to just collectively, we're going to go over these questions together, and we're just going to see how much we know collectively, because this is over classic horror movies, but then the definition of what is classic in this quiz is varied. So there's some movies in here that we might just know fairly well. Okay. Fay Wray thought she was starring opposite this actor in 1933's King Kong instead of a giant ape. Was it Clark Gable, Errol Flynn, Cary Grant, or Bob Hope? Now, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a real movie.
More for you listeners, in case you might know. What if we were to guess and just say it's Errol Flynn? I don't know. Okay, what about this one? This one we might know. The name of the demon who possessed Regan McNeil in The Exorcist, 1973's Exorcist. Was it Beelzebub? Was it Pazuzu? Was it Ipes or Ipez? Or was it Legion? Wasn't it Beelzebub or was it Pazuzu?
No.
Let's say Pazuzu. I don't know why. Let's just see if that's it. Okay, which of these scary movies was not set in California? Poltergeist, Piranha, The Lost Boys, or The Fog? Veronica, where was The Lost Boys set?
I believe in California.
Okay.
I don't know that it was a real town, but I'm pretty sure it was California. What was the other one?
Poltergeist, which came out in 1982, Piranha, which came out in 1978, and The Fog. Wasn't The Fog probably somewhere on the northeast coast, setting-wise?
In Piranha, Piranha get accidentally released into a river system, if I remember correctly. Unless I'm remembering a different movie. It's one of those, 50-50.
Well, let's say Piranha. Let's just say Piranha. Okay. Some of the interior shots of the Bates house in Psycho, 1960, were filmed on the same sound stage as this classic horror movie. Phantom of the Opera, House of Wax, Frankenstein, or The Old Dark House. Ooh.
This is for people that are really into horror trivia.
Well, I mean, that could be some people who listen to us. Although, if we have horror experts that listen to us, that's a huge compliment to Veronica and I. Okay, this one you might know. Okay. Before Donald Pleasance was cast as Dr. Sam Loomis in Halloween, which actor did John Carpenter approach about this role? Was it Vincent Price? Was it Christopher Lee? Was it Lon Chaney Jr. or was it Robert Englund? So the guy who plays the doctor.
Mm-hmm. What are the choices again?
Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Lon Chaney Jr., or Robert Englund.
It was such a low budget movie. I can't imagine any of those.
Okay, which of these famous horror movie franchise slashers has accumulated the highest body count? We're going to have to just guess on this one. Is it Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Michael Myers, or Jason Voorhees?
Well, does this include all the sequels?
Yeah, I don't know. This is a very broad question. I would say Michael Myers, just because there's been so many. I know there's been a lot of Jason Voorhees movies too.
Or is it just the original movie? How is it worded again, the question?
Which of these famous horror movie franchise slashers has accumulated the highest body count?
Okay, then yeah, I would think they're talking about the whole franchise.
Probably Michael Myers, right?
I guess.
In which movie does a man in Frankenstein monster mask kill people at a carnival?
At a carnival?
At a carnival. It's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It might be Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Or it might be The Funhouse. 1981's The Funhouse.
I'll go with that one.
Okay, and the film Village of the Damned takes place where? Does it take place in the village of Midwich, Britain, Salem, Massachusetts, Quahog, Rhode Island, or Berlin? Did you ever see that movie, Village of the Damned?
No.
Okay, let's go a little bit faster. Speed round. Which of these films was not directed by George A. Romero? Was it Diary of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, or Rise of the Dead?
I don't remember a movie by that name. But
what was the name of the gypsy fortune teller who passed on the werewolf curse to Larry Talbot in The Wolfman? It was Bella, played by Bela Lugosi. I know this. I just saw this movie. In the movie Christine, 1983, who was Christine? It was Arnie's mother, the car, Arnie's car. So the options were Arnie's mother, Arnie's girlfriend, Arnie's car, or none of the above. It was the car. What are the monsters in the movie Them, which came out in 1954? I didn't see this. Giant centipedes, giant rats, giant ants, or giant spiders? Ooh, was it giant ants? Kill one and 2 others take its place. Or was it rats?
I think the one with giant ants wasn't it called Empire of the Ants? Maybe there was more than one movie. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's say rats.
Let's go rats. Let's hear rats.
In which of these movies did Michael Caine play a scientist who fought killer bees? Was it Swarmed? Was it Killer Bees, 1974? The Deadly Bees, 1967? Or The Swarm, 1978?
I'd say The Swarm.
I'm looking at the picture and I'm guessing it's The Swarm. Okay, and then what actor played the lead role in David Cronenberg?
I remember that movie because there was a big fear at the time that, killer bees were going to come up from, I don't know, South America and just...
like invade.
Yeah.
Okay, this one we know. What actor played the lead role in Cronenberg's critically acclaimed 1986 remake of The Fly? Christopher Walken, Jeff Goldblum, William Hurt, or Steve Guttenberg?
Goldblum.
Who wrote An American Werewolf in London, which came out in 1981? Was it John Landis, Stephen King, Clive Barker, or Wes Craven?
Oh, shoot.
Oh, crap. Okay, we're going to submit our answers and see how badly we did. We got 7 out of 15 correct. So
about half-ish, almost.
So the correct answer on number 1 was not Errol Flynn, it was Cary Grant. We got Pazuzu right. That was correct. Piranha, you were right on that. I said House of Wax for the set that shared the same interior shots with Psycho. It wasn't. It was The Phantom of the Opera, which came out in 25. I said Vincent Price was almost cast in Halloween, but it wasn't him. It was Christopher Lee. We did have the correct... No, we were wrong. Jason Voorhees had most body count. But we were correct about the Funhouse being the one where somebody wore a Frankenstein mask. I was wrong about the Village of the Damned being in Rhode Island. It was the village of Midwich in Britain. George A. Romero did not direct Day of the Dead. Damn, you were right. We should have gone with your gut instinct. It was giant ants for them.
Well, I had said that I didn't think it was that one because I remember a movie called Empire of the Ants. Oh. That was about giant ants.
Listeners, if you got more of those right than we did, congratulations. Good job. Good job, you.
All right. Obviously, there'll be spoilers, so be warned. All right, so our movie this time around, which even though I said it was from the 90s, I thought it was, for some reason, an 80s movie.
Really?
It had that kind of feel to me. But anyway, it was 1998's The Faculty. Really? It was rated R?
Was it? I didn't even see that.
That's what IMDb says.
Well, I guess there is a lot of her being naked. Maybe that's where it got the R rating.
Not like really clear shots.
Yeah, it's not like full frontal, really.
All right. Anyway, 1998's The Faculty. The underwhelming tagline on IMDb says, when Casey Connor, Harrington High School's newspaper photographer, witnesses the murder of a nurse and sees her alive again, he decides to investigate the bizarre happenings. Mm-hmm. That's very underwhelming. Directed by Robert Rodriguez, Texas's own Robert Rodriguez, and stars a bunch of people that I had no idea was in it. The only person that I knew
like
going
a lot of
into
people,
it,
yeah.
The only person that I knew that was in it, or that I remembered being in it, was Frodo, Elijah Wood. But it also stars, and this was all a very young Jordana Brewster as Delilah, Laura Harris as Mary Beth, Sean Hattasey as Stan, Famke Janssen as one of the teachers, Christopher McDonald, Robert Patrick, Jon Stewart,
I know,
as mentioned, the aforementioned Elijah Wood, Clea DuVall, Josh Hartnett, Salma Hayek,
I know,
Piper Laurie, Bebe Neuwirth, and Usher, of all people.
I know, like a very young Usher. I was like, oh my God, he looks like a child. I cannot wrap my brain around Jon Stewart with like not gray hair. It just completely throws me to look at him with brunette hair.
But apparently he's set in a high school somewhere in Ohio, apparently. Yeah. So Valerie, first impressions?
Well, so I was correct in that I have never seen this one. And fully when this movie came out, 1998, I was in the throes of high school people. I was like, that was my junior year, 1998. maybe like sophomore, junior year, somewhere in there. And I have memory of this. Like I remember that it came out. I didn't see it. This was post the success of Scream. So Hollywood was like greenlighting a lot of movies like this and kind of rushing them to production to get them up to capitalize on the success of Scream. But I didn't see this one. I thought it was fun. I thought it like maybe could have. I felt every moment of that hour and 40-ish minutes. So like it probably could have trimmed a little bit of the fat, but I thought it was entertaining. What did you think of it?
I thought it was fun. Like, again, like I was under the impression even that it was an 80s movie, maybe just because of the feel of it. The ending kind of got a little more screwballish than it probably needed to.
Okay.
Well, and maybe that was just the CGI, or not. There was no CGI at that time, but the special effects with the alien. But I'm not sure we needed to necessarily see that or for it to be so like really off the wall.
Very much and they reference it a lot, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of vibe. By the way, guys, before we go any further, this is not going to mean anything to Veronica, but friends of my generation. The girl who plays Mary Beth, her name is Laura Harris. Raise your hand if you remember Laura Harris from the Nickelodeon teen soap opera called 15, because however long that show was on, I don't remember. It wasn't on super long, but it was on for, I think, multiple years. I watched it. That teen soap opera had a young Ryan Reynolds, and it had this woman, because the minute this girl came on the screen, I was like, gosh, she looks and she sounds, it's her voice. Her voice is very distinctive. I was like, she looks a lot like that girl.
Does she have that accent?
I don't know if she has that accent, but like it's not even just the accent. It's just Laura Harris has such a soft manner of speaking. Like on the teen soap opera 15,
I never heard of that show.
Well, because this was my era. This was like you were already off in college. She spoke almost in a whisper for like all of that soap opera show. When 15 came out, I wasn't yet of age. I was like that show debuted in 1991, so I was 9. So yeah, you were fully in college. You were like fully in a young adult. So it wouldn't have landed on your radar. But I was too young for it to be on my radar. But I watched everything on Nickelodeon, so I watched that one. Anyway, okay. No, what are we talking about? Okay, the special effects of it all towards the end felt a little hokey to you. What did you think of Josh Hartnett as like this mad scientist who had his own like elaborate laboratory?
I know, that was all a little like, of
and
course,
could like dissect rats.
That was all a little
and yet,
much.
Somehow was repeating his senior year in high school.
Like, thought he had a very dorky haircut.
Yeah, that was, and I do remember that. I do remember Josh Hartnett in the late 90s, early aughts with that haircut. Just the weird styles of the 90s, man. It was bananas. The girl hairstyles were not that much better. And we do get introduced to Elijah Wood as sort of like so everybody has their type. There's Elijah Wood is like the nerdy kid who gets bullied every day on campus. You have the kid who plays the jock, who is a notable actor too. And that actor's name is Sean Hatosi. Is that what you said?
Something like that. I don't know
so he's a notable actor too. He's been around too. And is it Clea or Clea DuVall?
I don't know how she pronounces it.
Yeah, I don't know how she pronounces it either, but she's another notable actor from the 90s. All of these people were very popular actors of the late 90s, early 2000s. So Clea, I'm going to say Clea. She plays Stokely. She plays sort of the goth chick that everybody just sort of brands as the outcast. Jordana Brewster plays like the smart one, popular cheerleader type. I didn't really, just mainly because I just had a hard time buying her as the witch that she's meant to play in this film. But maybe that's just because having watched Jordana Brewster and other stuff, I'm like, I just don't buy you as a mean girl. You don't sell me as mean. I don't know. How did you feel about that?
I mean, I don't know. Anybody can be mean. What I didn't buy was the ending with her and Frodo. Like, yeah. Her character never grew, never changed. Why would you want to be with her? Like, she's still just going to be a person who thinks she's better than other people, looks down at them, makes fun of them. I mean, she hasn't changed. So not to mention that she looks like she's a senior and he looks like he's 12. So mismatch all the way around.
We do have also playing Miss, what's her name? Playing Miss crap. What did she play? Why isn't it showing me
Who?
on the woman who plays the teacher that has a crush on Josh Hartnett, which I found really icky on like so many levels. Miss
Famke Janssen.
Famke Janssen, but
Miss
the
Burke.
teacher's name is Miss Burns? Burke. Okay, Miss Burke. Yeah, that was just
doesn't
like
age well.
why? Like the whole show, and then even up at the end, it's like, why are we making this part of the plot? This is weird. We have a very young Robert Patrick as the coach. I know him from Terminator fame. I'm sure I know he's done lots of other stuff, but that's where I know that face from. Oh, okay. He was in X-Files. He's really young here in this film.
Yeah, they're all very young here in this film.
Yeah.
Like Salma Hayek, I didn't even recognize her until I heard the voice, and I was like, why does that voice sound familiar?
Yeah.
She's Nurse Harper.
So I do, like, this film it's supposed to be set in somewhere in Ohio. I did see how a lot of this film was actually shot in various parts of Texas, including Austin. So, and like Dallas area and stuff like that. So,
well, specifically, the high school was filmed at the School of the Deaf there in Austin.
Oh,
which
okay.
I hope it doesn't actually look that run down in real life.
Yeah.
Because it looked pretty. I mean, I know it's an old building in Austin, but I hope it's been better maintained than what it looked like in this movie.
Yeah, I would think so.
When did you start to suspect who the queen was? Or
well, before we get to that, I want to get to one more person in the cast. What did you like? BB Newirth as Principal Drake, who is our first attack of the screen, where she gets stabbed through the hand with a pencil by the coach. I guess the coach is the first person who gets body snatched. We just don't see who's doing the body snatching. But yeah, to answer your question, when did I first start suspecting her? I don't know. Like I definitely, at the point where they're all, and this was another funny, like ridiculous part of the plot, at the point where they're all snorting up drugs to prove they're not infected or whatever, that they haven't been invaded. One, how ridiculous to be like fully having a trip in the midst of like
when you need
all your faculties,
your clarity. Yeah, that's very The Thing, though. The movie The Thing. Yeah, because of The Thing. And actually, I think they also do that in. No, I think that's The Thing. Yeah, The Thing.
So, I mean, when they're all taking the drugs and we don't actually see her take it before like chaos ensues and they flee chasing after something or running after something. So we don't actually see her take it. And so I clocked that. I was like, we didn't actually see her take it. And in fact, we don't even know, like they take off and they leave her back there. And then she stumbles out and she's mimicking the effects of being on the drugs. And so you think, okay, well, obviously she took it. But so that was the first little thing that red flagged me. But then honestly, I don't know that I truly suspected her until the reveal, where it's like she's sitting there yammering on about feeling isolated, feeling whatever, and not wanting to feel that way anymore. And the longer she talked, you're coming to the same realization that Stokely's coming to, that it's like, oh my God, it's her. I did think that was a well done plot twist, even if you could see it from a mile away. Were you like the first time you saw this movie? This is not the first time.
Yeah, this is the first time.
In its entirety?
In its entirety.
Yeah.
I started suspecting her as soon as, I think it was Delilah that made the, like, well, how do we know it's not you, Mary Beth? This all started when you showed up. And I was like, you know what? It did. And so then I just started watching her really closely. And really pretty much from that point, she's just tagging along. She's never really actively doing anything. Just always kind of, like you said, hanging in the back, hanging behind, hanging in the back, not really offering ideas, not contributing anything. So you know, when as soon as it showed her and Stokely sitting alone in the, because obviously the kids, they're trying to suss out like who's the head alien, who's the queen bee or whatever, who started this, and their first guess is logically the principal, which we know it's not. Right. We also know it's not the coach because he was the first person, as you said, body snatched. So we know it's somebody that we haven't been introduced to yet because it's not any of the other. Well, we don't know for sure. But anyway, that's when I started to suspect her and watching her more closely.
Yeah, initially I had Mrs. I think the character name is Karen Olsen. Mrs. Olsen I had pegged as the potential B because she seemed to just be running the show. Like she seemed to be, her and Coach were the first consistently infected ones, and she seemed to just sort of be directing him on like, this is what we're going to do next. And then it just seemed like she, even over Principal Drake, had a little bit more control. And so that's who, and maybe, and so I think that's well done by the script writers of the movie, is like you're sort of blindsided thinking it's this older woman, not realizing it's the younger girl. Yeah, as the reveal happens, you're like, yes, of course it was her. It was her all along, and it makes perfect sense. Now that she played that really well, that actress.
I also saw other little fun facts that popped up on because this is on Prime Video in the States anyway. Did you ever watch Buffy or Angel? Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel?
I know. No.
All right. Well, there was a character on there called Cordelia, played by Charisma Carpenter. And apparently she was offered the role of Delilah, but turned it down because she thought the role was too similar to her role of Cordelia on Buffy and Angel. And apparently Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer herself, was also offered a role, but turned it down. Not clear which role she was offered, but just little fun side facts.
You know, I did pick up a little fun fact off Prime as well about the scene where Mary Beth asks Stokely how the book Invasion of Body Snatchers ends. So at the end, when they're in the gymnasium and we get the big reveal, she asks Stokely how that ends, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and Stokely replies, "They get us, they win, we lose." But actually, this is what it says: the book ends with the aliens giving up because they had underestimated the human desire for survival.
Actually, that brings up a question. What did you think of because Stokely is kind of apparently our resident sci-fi reader. She reads sci-fi. The scene, I think they're in the library, her and Casey, and just based on, how do I phrase this? What do you think of Casey's arrival at, this must be aliens? Like, of all the things.
Okay, wait. Casey is Elijah Wood,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Casey is Frodo. Casey is Frodo.
Like, it feels so, like, it just feels so rushed. It's like suddenly
like aliens, jumping. It must be aliens.
It just feels a little rushed to go there. At that point, though, I'm trying to think of what they'd seen. They had seen Casey and Jordana Brewster's character had seen the coach attack the nurse. They didn't actually see what happened though, right? They just saw that he attacked the nurse.
Mm-hmm. But it's not like they saw Mrs. Olsen.
It's not like they saw. Oh, that's true. He saw not Miss Olsen, but the lady the old woman.
That is Mrs. Olsen.
No, Miss Olsen is the one who survives. The one who he sees in the shower that doesn't make it.
Yeah,
that's somebody else. I don't know who that lady is. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what is the level of alien shit that they've seen at this point, and I don't know what they've seen.
Why jump to alien? Why not just say, these people, they're murderers? They're just regular, normal human murderers.
Because that's what I'm trying to establish. If in that scene they saw the coach's tongue or tentacles or whatever reach out, because that's what happens. It reaches out and infects the nurse. Then it's I guess I would jump to think that's an alien.
I don't think they saw that.
But I don't think they saw that.
He doesn't even mention that. He just
I don't think they saw that.
I think that would have been the first thing they mentioned. So I just thought that was kind of funny the way they just What if it is aliens? And just based on her reading of her knowledge, Stokes' knowledge of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, they come to this theory that is actually what's happening, but that would be their first jumping off point. Seems kind of funny.
I did find it, I think, and maybe it's just a reflection of our modern day times and maybe a sign of us potentially moving towards some areas where we're doing better by each other, because the whole line of what is Jordana Brewster? Delilah. Let me just keep calling her Delilah. Delilah. Hey there, Delilah. Okay, anyway, Delilah keeps throwing it in Stokely's face like it's some kind of insult. He keeps calling her a lesbian and lesbian. And I'm like, what is the big deal? If she is a lesbian, who cares? It just felt like such a lame thing to come at her with. And I was like, who gives a crap? Move on. So I just was finding it to be a really stupid line of bullying, but maybe perhaps in that particular, I don't know, and maybe it landed differently in the late 90s than it does now with me. At this point, I'm just it doesn't freaking matter, ma'am. Is that all you've got? Is that it?
Yet another reason why, Frodo, why do you want to be with this girl at the end of this movie? Find somebody else.
Can I tell you, because the whole time that she's going on and on about Stokely being a lesbian, just minor segue. When I was little, so Veronica is 13 years older than I am. So she was in high school when I was young, when I was 4 or 5, whatever. And so her high school yearbooks, I would pore over and look at because, me being a little girl in the 80s, like I just thought 80s teenagers were so cool. And I just wanted to live in that world. So I would pore over her yearbooks and Vanessa's yearbooks. And there was at their high school at the time, there was something called the Thespians Club. And me being like 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, I didn't know what thespians were. And so I thought, because I had heard the term lesbian, like I had thought, oh, well, that's so nice that they have a club and that they have that group of friends. Like, that's great. Like, for little girl, little Valerie was like, that's so great. That's so cool that they have their own club. And it was many years later when I was like, oh, that's not what that means. So just share that. Every time I hear that I'm just like, oh, little me, I was like, the Thespians Club. That's so great that they get to hang out together. Anyway, all right. What else we got?
What did you think of when they finally do kill the Queen, Mary Beth?
Yeah.
And everybody that's been infected just miraculously goes back to being who they were, which is fine. But in the instances of like Famke Janssen's character, who was beheaded at one point, and BB, well,
what did you think of that scene? What did you think of that scene?
That's when I was like, okay, this is starting to go a little. I mean, it was it was all kind of fun, but it was still kind of in keeping with something resembling reality as much as a movie about alien invasion can. But that was that's when it was like, okay, this is starting to go a little sideways.
Yeah, after she like ejects from the car that Josh Hartnett has crashed into the bus and has like burst into flames, mind you, and he comes out of it somewhat okay, and you see her head with tentacles just like an octopus, like crawling towards her body to reattach. And Josh Hartnett is like, forget this or whatever, like I'm out. And I'm like, yeah, at that point,
which is an appropriate response if you see something
that is
like
an appropriate response. Isn't he, aside from Elijah Wood, isn't he the only one who never gets infected? Josh Hartnett?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So
well, actually, Elijah Wood almost did.
Yeah. I thought that was really kind of just ridiculous. But like at that point, we had also seen had we seen the reveal of like Mary Beth shed her human form and be this huge monster in the gymnasium?
Possibly, I don't remember.
Yeah, so like at that point, we were starting to see weird stuff. Her in the pool, this massive beast in the pool, swimming super fast and being humongous. I thought her in the pool was more effective than her out of the pool. Yeah, underwater.
And I just don't know that I think it would have played better, just me, with my many years experience post this movie. How many years has it been? How old is this movie?
Like 1998. Do math. I don't know.
No math. Anyway, I just think it probably would have played a little better and maybe a little less silly, I guess, for an ending if they had never if we had never fully seen the alien form.
Yeah, like we see her in full form, and it's like, if we had seen, if I see what you're saying, like if they'd maybe held back just a little bit, then it could have felt more like Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. What did you think of? So when Casey first discovers the new species and brings it to Jon Stewart, whose name I don't even know, and he's not really in the movie long enough for me to have remembered his name, but they bring him to Jon Stewart.
Long.
Okay, he's like the science teacher. They bring him to him and he's like, Casey, I think you discovered a new species. And I'm like, the jump to that. Are you so sure? Like, for all you know, it's a species that exists. It's like, but they move it to water and that they see that the thing like almost immediately can duplicate. Got Jon Stewart with his hand in there, just like feeling around in there, like doing all kinds of dumb stuff that you shouldn't probably do with an organism you know nothing about. So of course he gets bit. And then later on when we see him and he's been turned and he tries to attack them, I did think that his demise was, I mean, there's some nice effectively done kill scenes in this movie just because of the whole, like, what is it that they stab him? Like, what is in these drugs that is impacting these aliens? Do they ever, like, what is it? Is it salt?
He just says it's mostly caffeine and then a mix of household products, which...
Okay. I don't know, because like the whole feel of it is
it dries
giving...
them out. Yeah,
the whole feel of it is like giving like what you do if you put salt on a slug. Like...
Yeah, like it dries them out.
Yeah. because they stab him with this substance in his eyeball, and then like his face just like fizzes over, but then also just like decays and erodes, and it's pretty nasty. So and we do have a couple of scenes like that. The scene with the old lady in the shower, like that was pretty nasty. Half her face comes off of her head.
So I guess those are the three, I guess, faculty that just disappear, and the authorities never have any answer for is Principal Drake, B.B. Newworth's character, because they also dry her out, Jon Stewart, and then I guess that old lady. Well,
that
no,
old lady.
Yeah, because the police never find her body.
They never
when
find
Casey
her body.
takes them back. So yeah, I
and
guess
then
those
the rest
are the
of them
only
just
three.
all go back to normal.
Now, do they remember? Because the kids remember, like Stokes and Delilah, they remember.
Yeah, I mean
what
that's
happened.
exactly.
Like, I don't know if anybody...
it does not. You do not get the impression that the coach has
Anybody
any
else.
memory of it,
Yeah.
or that creepy teacher who has a crush on Josh Hartnett. Like you don't get the vibe that she remembers that. I'm still just so disturbed by that ending scene. It's like I don't think we needed that of her in the stands watching him. Like, what was that about?
And waving at him, like
and waving.
Yeah, ick.
I'm just
that
like,
definitely
no.
did not age well. That did not age well.
It's a real easy, fun movie. There's not a whole lot of thinking that one needs to do to go into it. I did write down the line that he says that Casey delivers right before he stabs the mother alien with the drugs. He says, "Guaranteed to jack you up." So that would have been the good fun tagline.
Here's what I thought was going to happen after he does that, and as Mary Beth's alien body is dying, she shoots out whatever parasites that attach into his face, and they're starting to burrow into his face. And I thought, oh God, this is going to keep going because nobody's going to know that he's infected. But luckily, that did not happen.
I did think that was an interesting way because we hadn't really seen how it infects people so much. So we do get some interesting shots of like the coach standing out there in the field in the midst of like the sprinklers being on because this species, whatever they are, they so desperately need they need hydration, they need water. And we do have some interesting scenes where he's got tentacly things coming out of his face, out of his mouth. But we never really see how it infects anybody until we see her spew things at Casey's face. And
well, in the football game, you see like at the bottom of the tackles, the football players like dropping things into the opponent's ears.
I couldn't really make out what was going on. Yeah, like I knew that they were really pummeling.
When they tackle somebody, so they were hometown team
them.
would drop those little slug things into their ears, and
nobody nasty. Yeah. It's nasty. Okay, so you said what we thought about like the improbability of Delilah and Casey getting together at the end of the book or at the end of the movie. What did you think of Stokely and what's his face getting together at the end of the movie? The football jock. What's his name?
I mean, that was better. I could buy that because from the beginning, not Stokely. What was the jock's name? Stan?
I don't remember the jock's name. See, like I remember Stokely.
Was it Stan? Anyway, the football player.
Stan, you're right. Stan.
He was the captain of the football team, but he had decided way before anybody was even aware that anything weird was going on that he was going to quit the football team.
He'd become like disillusioned.
He just wanted to focus on bettering his grades. Like one of his motivations, as he tells Stokely, is that after a big game that they had won, and he was a big, obviously as the quarterback, a huge part of that win, he got a D on some important test, but the teacher basically gave him a slide and gave him an A because he's such a big football star, and he didn't like that. He said he worked hard for that D, he earned that D, and he wanted...
that was my D.
Yeah, like he wants to be judged on his own merits and not... So he was already showing growth. Seemed to be a good person, at least a decent person in this school.
Which,
full of a lot of...
Which nice I did appreciate that growth for him as a character. Because initially, when, you're kind of picking up on the vibe that Stokely might have some sort of crush situation on this guy. I was like, why? Why would you have a crush on that dude? You have so much going for you, Stokely. Why? But then as he establishes himself as like, he's not just that he's had it with an abusive coach who's just like verbally spewing at them all the time, but he's also just wanting to be treated like a human being and instead of like some sort of mythical god, Friday Night Lights football god. I did think that was an interesting bit of conversation in the very beginning of the movie, where you've got the principal with the teachers talking about budget stuff and we can't fund this, we can't fund that, and the teachers being disgruntled and saying meanwhile, football is going to get everything that they ask for. And she says yes, because that stadium's
They
packed.
bring in the money. Yeah.
They bring in the money, which is, that's
very true.
Very, very true to Southern high school sports anyway, much to my chagrin. What else? There were some fun things that I wanted to mention. We do have fun stuff for you guys in show notes. One of the things that I think has become really, hold on, let me find it, has become known at this point about this particular movie because of the success of Sinners. Recently, Ryan Coogler in interviews talked about how more than what's the movie that keeps getting tossed out when talking about Sinners? More than From Dusk Till Dawn, Ryan Coogler has said that he has affection for this film, for Robert Rodriguez as the faculty. And he says, even more than From Dusk Till Dawn, I love the faculty from Rodriguez. I love how he mashed up Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Thing, but set it in a 90s high school. I love the confusing mishmash of movie and setting. So I thought that was interesting. I think like at the time that this movie came out, it was not box office wise as big of a success as they were hoping for. But I think over time it has really become one of those cult favorites that people enjoy. That's good to see. But yeah, we talked about how like much of this or a lot of this was filmed in Austin. And Dallas and places like that. Clea DuVall does say that this is probably one of her most like notable roles, that she still gets people coming up to her and being like, you're Stokely and blah, 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 blah. So and Elijah Wood has said this was an extremely fun film to make because of the cast, because of the people, the production. It was just really fun. So, and there's some really interesting books, guys, that do talk about the faculty in their writings. And I wanted to list some of them out for you guys. There's a book called A History of Evil in Popular Culture, What Hannibal Lecter, Stephen King, and Vampires Reveal About America. It's 2 volumes, and it's written by Sharon Packer and Jodi Pennington. They say something really interesting in the book that is clipped here, where they talk about the character of Mary Beth, the alien queen, how she is a complex imbrication of woman, alien, and power that acts beyond the role of femme fatale. They say, as a monstrous mother of her race, she tries to quote unquote seduce the heroes by offering them a symbolic return to the womb. And this is how they put it. The image on the screen is dual. We see the beautiful young naked Mary Beth strolling around looking for Casey and the shadow of the monstrous form in the walls. She delivers a speech which ties the elements of the movie together, and it's about the world she came from and the promises of a paradise for lost, lonely people trapped in some high school hell. And then they do talk about, I can't remember, this might be another book, and I'll list it for you here in a second, but they talk about Miss Burke, the scene where she gets decapitated and her tentacled head is crawling around to her body. And they talk about that being kind of an echo of the Freudian Medusa head. And that is from a book, The Contemporary Femme Fatale Gender, Genre, and American Cinema by Catherine Fairmond. So I just wanted to drop those book titles for you guys because I was like, ooh, those are interesting. I'd want to read those.
But see, like they mentioned where Mary Beth's walking around and you just see like the shadow of the eight, like that's what they should have kind of stuck with. So that we know there's something monstrous and huge, but we don't ever actually see how silly it looks.
Or even just like the scene in the water where we see the teeth emerge right as like Stokely looks in the water and sees the creature. See, all you see is really like the teeth. That's an effective shot. Putting the full form of the alien in the shot. It just
standing on some high school bleachers. It just
standing on the bleachers.
It just doesn't hit.
And then later moving through the bleachers as the bleachers are closing. In my brain, I was like, but would that kill it? I don't know. I think that would just break the bleachers before that would kill it. I think, not that it killed it, but it like effectively trapped it. And I'm like, I don't know that would happen. I think you would just break the bleachers.
But it was fun. It was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie. And apparently, Ron, there is, at least as of last year, talk or something in the works of a remake happening. So there is a script for a remake in the works, and it would have Robert Rodriguez set to produce.
Well, maybe they'll listen to this podcast and keep the alien more nebulous in the remake.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to remake this one. But yeah, this was one of those movies in the 90s. Like I I didn't catch this one, but like I remember Urban Legends came out probably around the same time. I did see Urban Legends.
Were those all 90s movies? I guess
Urban
Scream
Legends
was the
was
90s.
90s.
Scream was 90s. Okay.
Scream was 90s. Urban Legends came out in...
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Urban Legends also came out in 1998. Urban Legends has Jared Leto and yeah. That's my generation. You can't claim them all, okay? Some of these are from the 90s. Oh, where would you rate this on the light switch scale?
There were a few moments where I jumped, not necessarily because it was scary, just somebody like popped up and I wasn't expecting it, but it wasn't like, it was more like startled. Like if someone, walks up behind you and you don't hear them.
Yeah. I think you can watch this in the dark. I think it's fun. I think if you're somebody like it's fun. It was fun viewing. And like those scenes where we're seeing their bodies disintegrate because they've been impacted by the drugs. It was just like, ew, like it's fun. It's just a fun, gnarly movie. So if you like The Thing, if you like Invasion of the Body Snatcher stories, what?
I did want to say though, before we knew that Mary Beth was the alien, she's like seemingly interested in, what was Josh Hartnett's character's name? Zeke?
Zeke, yes.
Zeke.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so you're the new girl in town and the local drug supplier, this is the guy that you're wanting to hook up with, okay.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. 90s Josh Hartnett, I totally get it. He was a cutie. The minute he starts sneaking around with you to stop, like steal supplies from the school laboratory because he uses them for his drug manufacturing, I'm like, and you're still into this? Like, there's no red flags going off.
This is the guy you want to, okay, girl.
For our next viewing, we are covering 90s horror. I wanted to ask you this. Initially, I had talked to Ronnie. I had pitched to her, hey, what if we watched Jennifer 8, which came out in 92, and it's more thriller mystery, so horror adjacent, definitely in the thriller category. It has Andy Garcia, which is why I picked it. I was like, Andy Garcia, did you see it?
I think I saw it.
I'm pretty sure.
Way back then. I don't remember anything about it really.
It's Andy Garcia and Uma Thurman, and so I thought that might be a fun one to watch. Or I did want to offer this because they just hit their 30th anniversary. There is also The Craft, which came out. I
never saw that one.
Okay, The Craft came out in 96.
Well, maybe watch Jennifer 8. Like I said, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I don't remember anything about it, so it would be brand new.
Let me hold on. Let me share screen with you so you can see. This is the poster. Yeah, I mean, I remember this movie. I don't remember, and I'm sure I've seen parts of it, but I don't remember what it's about. So it's an American neo-noir thriller film written and directed by Bruce Robinson, starring Andy Garcia, Uma Thurman, Lance Henriksen, Kathy Baker, and John Malkovich. The plot focuses on a police detective investigating the murder of an unidentified young woman in a small Northern California town. So I thought that'd be fun. And we're big fans of Andy Garcia over here. We love him. Okay, how do I stop share? How do I stop share? Did I stop share? Ronnie, look, take a look. Am I still sharing?
I don't see anything but your face.
Okay. Your face. Your face. Okay. So that will be what we will be watching next. And I believe that's also available on Amazon Prime, guys. So you can watch it ahead of the episode, and we'll talk about it next. So that's it. All right. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Don't Watch at Night is a Nest production. Executive producers are Valerie and me. Editing by Valerie. Music by Omar Chakor. Special thanks to Lorenzo Villarreal and Alex Street for production support for this episode. Listen to any new episodes every other Monday, and if you like our show, give us a rate and a review. It's the best way to help us grow.